Good morning, everybody, on this very wild and very stormy morning in County Kerry in Ireland. You can probably see in the window behind me. The storm is raging outside and I'm feeling very cosy and warm and glad that I have a roof over my head. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name's Rebecca. And I use QTT personal development methods, coaching, mentoring, and homeopathy to help you and your family to be as healthy and as happy as you can possibly be and stay that way. So today's video is actually the second in a 4-part series that I'm doing to help you to make your own roadmap, really, your own personal roadmap to creating your best year yet. And last week we talked about the importance of identifying and celebrating all the achievements that you have done, made, created in the last 12 months. And we are today staying with feelings. And I'm going to ask you today and over the next several days to really have a think about and narrow down and identify how you would like to feel going forward over the next 12 months. And of course, ultimately, how you're going to feel when you do this exercise, or step one's exercise, in 12 months' time. So we're really staying with as much positive feeling as we can possibly generate. So you've already experienced how you can look back at what you've done, the circumstances that you've come through over the last 12 months, and you've survived and you've coped with them and you've moved on, or you've decided to do things and done them, which is great. And I hope that you got on well with that and you had a good chunky list of achievements and that you could slap yourself on the back and say, wow, I did that. That's a great space to be in, and it makes us much more receptive to possibility and the fact that we actually have some control over what happens to our lives. And so today's video, where I'm asking you to identify how you'd like to feel going forward, is kind of in the same arena. But what it's going to do is, once you've gone through this, it's going to act as an anchor, really, to keep you steady when those waters get choppy. Because, there are always moments in life where we might get diverted and go off on a little tangent somewhere, and then we can forget what we're aiming for, and we can get a little bit lost, and we can start making decisions that are not going to help us get to where we want to be, ultimately. And actually remembering how we want to feel is a good kind of, it's part of a check and balance system that this 4-step process gives you. So when I say think about how you want to feel, what do I mean by that? I mean, well, let's talk about focusing on, the areas that you want to be looking at. For some of you, it may be, I just want to actually design my whole life differently. I want to feel differently. And you can therefore focus on something that is going to underpin everything that you do, really. If that's too general for you, or it might be to start off with, it's quite a good idea to break your life into sections. So perhaps if you think about maybe your family, your relationships, and that can be a significant relationship, or it can be just relationships in general, and maybe your work, your job, your business. Those are just the common areas, but there may be more specific areas than that you want to focus on. So go through each of those sections of your life. Think about, well, how do I feel about them now? And if, again, you're not sure about that, a good way to do it is to, first of all, give yourself some quiet time, some space to do this, because it's not going to be something that should be hurried. You need to put some thought into it. So a good way to do it is to maybe put your hands on your heart space, close your eyes, and just think about the area that you want to focus on, and think, well, how do I feel about it? And register what comes up, probably what comes up straight away. Is it positive? Is it negative? If you think it's positive, if you think, yeah, actually that makes me feel good, it brings a smile to my face and I'm feeling warm and fuzzy and lovely about it. Try and think about, first of all, where you feel it in your body and write that down. And also how intensely you're feeling that feeling. Marks out of 10 is a good place to start. Pretty much, if you can mark the intensity as, I'd say, probably 7 or 8 and above, then you're doing pretty well. And you may decide, actually, I'm quite happy with that. I don't really need to work on that area of my life. And that's good to know. So just make a note of that. If the feeling is actually quite negative, maybe you're not happy in the work that you're doing, and when you think about it, it makes your heart race, or it makes you feel very worried and anxious, then make a note of that feeling too. Make a note of how intensely you're feeling it, and think about flipping that feeling and what you would like to feel instead. And that's what you're trying to identify. So when you're making your list of how you want to feel over the next 12 months, what you're doing is saying, I want to feel happy, or I want to feel abundant, or I want to feel loved, or I want to feel respected, or, any of those positive emotions that you feel you would like to work towards. It doesn't work so well if you're saying, I don't want to feel unhappy anymore, or I don't want to feel disrespected. It's a kind of muddled message for your subconscious to do that. So always go towards the more positive expression of your positive feeling. I hope that makes sense, and do ask me any questions if you have any. Good morning, Harriet. You're very welcome. So when you're thinking of those feelings, so obviously you're concentrating on certain areas, you're concentrating on the positive feelings. You can be going into an almost meditative state to just, really feel those feelings and notice how they make you feel physically as well as emotionally. Sometimes, really happy feeling can bring up very marked physical symptoms. Sometimes a very negative feeling can do the same. So it's good to notice these symptoms. So if you're not familiar with going into a meditative state, then you might want to follow my free guided meditation series. That's available if you pop onto my website, and you can register to receive the free videos and to receive a free newsletter every couple of weeks. So if you want to do that, you can go onto my website, rebeccaatkinson.com, and there'll be a link to that in the post with this video. So, okay, let me see, where am I on my list? Okay, yeah, aim for a relatively short list. So even if you are deciding you want to work on several areas at once, several areas of your life, then try and see if there's a thread that connects those feelings. I mean, often when we start off thinking, okay, well, I want to feel slightly differently in my work, as I do with my family, say, when you actually narrow it down, it often can be the same feeling. So just spend a bit of time on that so that you end up with a short list. Not too many different feelings, because that's hard for you to pick which feeling you want at any given time. So a short list, I would advise maybe three different words or three different feelings, or maybe one short sentence that encompasses all of those things. So have a think about that, spend your time with it, really sit with it, and be as specific as you can. What I then like to do, and this is optional for you at this stage, but we want to set up a almost daily reminder of those feelings once we've identified them, because they're going to keep us on track when we're getting a bit muddled or a bit confused, a bit lost. So this is where something like a vision board comes in handy, and I'm sure you've probably all heard of vision boards, and lots of people talk about them. They can be very, very simple and very useful. So in this instance, if you've identified, let's say, 3 words, or let's say one of your feelings is unconditional love. If you have a photograph or an image, or maybe just that word, those words, and you want to be reminded very quickly and immediately of how it feels to experience that unconditional love, then take that photograph and put it somewhere where you're going to see it regularly. I have a lovely, lovely photograph of me holding my son when he was a baby. And when I look at it, it takes me straight back to that time. I can remember it so clearly. We'd spent a lovely afternoon together, and we just had a little dance around the living room, and I was holding him really close to my heart, and I could smell that lovely baby smell. All you mums out there, you'll know exactly what I mean. That wonderful baby smell. And I felt so happy and so joyous and so blessed to have this lovely boy. I can feel his sort of chunky baby soft skin and all of that. And it immediately makes me feel all of those feelings that I felt at the time. It makes me feel just completely flooded with unconditional love. So I have that photograph on pretty much all of my vision boards, actually, that I do, because it transports me straight back to that place. And another thing that I have, which makes me feel good, is another photograph of me on one of my summer holidays, in the sun, basking in sunshine. It was in Seville, actually, and that's my screensaver on my phone. Or you can put it on your laptop or anywhere where you're going to be seeing it regularly. Good morning, Brit. So those are just reminders that can keep you on track throughout the year, just to help get you back in focus and thinking about, how do I want to feel going through my life? And what they will do, once you've identified these feelings, is when you come to make a decision, and we all have to make decisions every day of our lives, but when we come to the bigger decisions and we're not really sure, well, I don't know if this is right for me or not, go back to how you want to feel in that particular area of your life. And then you can ask yourself, is this decision, is this one possible route? Is this going to help me get closer to how I want to feel, or is it actually going to take me further away from it? And so it becomes a kind of rudder, if you like, to keep you on track. Very, very useful. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to get you to do today. So sounds kind of relatively simple, but does demand a bit of time, a bit of immersion in it, and it will pay dividends. It will really help you. It's important because it has to be strong enough to keep you going in those times when you're going to drift a bit. And it's actually one half of two big things that are going to keep you on track. And the second half, we're going to talk about next week, same time. And we're going to talk about how these two things together are going to make sure that no matter what you do, you're going to remain on track, on course, and you're going to be able to make all sorts of decisions that are right for you as opposed to anyone else. And that's what all this is about, really, is to just really identify and create the kind of life that is going to work for you, not for anyone else, not for your neighbour, not for your partner even, but for you specifically, so that you're then making decisions about every little bit of your life that are in line with that and are going to support that. And at the end of the day, you will come out thinking, wow, I created that, I stayed on track, and it's made a massive difference to how my life has been. So let me just check I haven't missed anything out. Yes, I said that. And yep. If there are any questions, please do ask. If you're watching on the replay, it's not too late to put your comments or your questions forward. You can do that. And yeah, next week I will be talking about step 3. So I hope you found that useful. And as I said, do put your comments in the thread below. If you're interested in how I work and working with me further, then go onto the website. And as I say, you can sign up for the newsletter, but you can also sign up for a free call. So you can ask me quite specific questions about how I work and how I can help you. And you can also book a consultation if you've read enough information on the site to enable you to do that. So thank you so much for being with me, and thank you very much, Harriet and Breed, and do ask me any questions if you want to. I'll just stay on for a couple of minutes to let you do that, because I know it's pretty stormy out there. So I hope you've been able to see and hear me. I assume that you have. And if that's it, then I will say thank you very much, and I'll see you next week, or I will be answering your questions or your comments. Okay, take care and stay inside today, I think, if you're living in Kerry. Bye.